All right, good evening, everyone. And we are here in December for our CPIC meeting. And we just want to say thank you for everyone coming here tonight. we're going to start off with call to order and then the opening prayer. If everyone could stand, please. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Loving God, during his holy season of Christmas, we ask for your blessing on all families. Let Mary's openness to your wondrous ways be an inspiration to place all trust in you. Let Joseph's courage provide hope during times of anxiety and uncertainty. Let Jesus' life ignite all families with a spirit of light and love. May the grace that encircled the Holy Family widen to embrace all families. For this we pray, amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Nora, can you please say the land acknowledgement, please?
Sure. The land we walk on belongs to the Creator. Earth does not belong to humanity, but rather humanity is part of the earth. The land was created to be enjoyed by all living beings, a principle reflected in the dish with one spoon covenant, taking only what we need to preserve our earth for future generations, leaving some for others as a sign of our respect and caring, and keeping it clean by revitalizing the land to sustain generations to come. All Toronto Catholic District School Board properties are situated on the traditional territories of the Endawanish, the Haudenosaunee, the Confederacy, and the Wendat people. We recognize that the land covered by the Treaty 13 is held by the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations. We also listen to the echoes of their prayers to the Creator and respect the beauty of Mother Earth while striving to learn and draw wisdom from First Nations, Inuit, and Métis traditions.
Thank you, Nora. Okay, we're going to do roll call now. Gabriella Berloni. Present. Tony Oranges. Not here. Agatha Edwards. Franco Kotza. Madeline Wanje. Andrea Maya. Dan is not here. Jacinda Lippard. Nora Bagioni da Costa, Francesca Ancona, Michael Lamana, Carolina Krasniak, Ivan Marinovich, Gus Gikas, Maureen Colford, and we have Trustee Nancy Crawford and Trustee Frank D'Amico.
Here.
Brian Peterson and Joe Fiorante. Thank you. If everyone could stand for O Canada, please. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Okay, we have roll call. Next we have approval of the agenda. If everyone wants to take a minute just to take a look. If there's anything that needs to be corrected or changed or moved, please let me know. Can I get someone to move the agenda, please? Gus? Sorry? Oh, and the addendum, yes. Gus? Gab, second. Okay. All right, if there are any declarations of interest on anything that we are voting on tonight, if you can please let us know prior to the vote. We also have approval and signing of the minutes of the inaugural meeting held November 11, 2024. I need someone to move that and a seconder, please. Franco, thank you. And a seconder, thank you. Yvonne, second it. Okay, and then next we have presentations and reports from the committee officers. The report from the chair. Okay, on the 2024 Angel Foundation for Learning Snowball Gala, An Evening to Feed Dreams was November 29th. It was the second year CPIC purchased a table for the event, helping to support students in their post-secondary educational dreams through bursaries. The Guardian Angel funds help provide TCDSB students with some of life's basic needs, such as warm clothing, food, hearing aids, eyeglasses, EpiPens, and other necessities for life. The Angel Foundation also provides school allocations, where schools can request funds to help reduce the costs associated with school trips or leadership activities for their students, and the one we are most familiar with, the Student Nutrition Program, where the foundation provides meals for children of the TCDSB. We also had the Budget and Priorities Subcommittee met on December 3rd to discuss and create the priorities for the coming year. It was a productive meeting with great ideas from all its members, led by the subcommittee chair, Gabriella Berloni. I need a motion of receipt. Gabriella, seconder. Nora? Okay, next on our agenda, we have the Catholic Parent Involvement Committee grant and expenditure summary as of November 30th. Gus, can you please speak to that?
Sure, thank you. Our ending balance as of November 30th on page 11 is $80,369.38. We still have a few items to report from our last meeting. Our meals expense report, which is about $210. And we also have to submit an invoice here for parent charter plaques that every school is getting. That's going to be about $2,300 and mileage. Through the chair, she'll be sharing a link that you all can submit your mileage expense on a Microsoft form. It's 70 cents per kilometer, so make sure you submit it so you guys can get reimbursed.
Thank you, Gus. Can I get someone to motion of receipt, please? Andrea? And thank you, Michael. Okay, and I'll send out via email, I'll send out that link to everybody.
Jen, I just had a question. What's the deadline that everyone has to submit the mileage for?
sorry, I'm forgetting things. And, no one's opposed to the grant and expenditure summary? Okay, so that passes. Thank you. Rochelle, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you through you, Ms. Chair. Gus, what's the deadline to submit? So the 2024 to 2025, that starts from September or?
From November.
Oh, so it starts from November
Yeah.
till December?
Yeah, and I got yours already from November.
Okay, so I just want to make sure everyone else is aware. So the deadline is December this month, right? That they have to submit?
Deadline is this month, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Next, we have the Toronto 9C, the Toronto Catholic District School Board AI Guidelines presentation. Charith Saratne, I hope I got that correct, ICT Head of Technology Operations. Okay.
So I'd like to welcome our IT services here today. One of the great things about CPIC is they get to consult on a lot of the initiatives that are happening from the board. And as the largest Catholic school board in the province and the world, we want to be ahead of our AI guidelines and how we use and develop AI tools within education. So we're happy to have consultation from our ITC department here today. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, good evening. Thank you for including me in today's agenda. So just a quick introduction. My name is Charat Senaratna. I'm fairly new to the board. It's about 7 months in. I'm the head of technology operations. One of the first things I was asked to do is to look at what our AI policy and our guidelines are going to look like for the board. So that's what I've been doing. It's one of the first things I've been doing since I started working here. And we developed our AI guidelines, which I condensed into a PowerPoint presentation that I want to share with the team here. And kind of just give you the highlight of what's in our guidelines and present it that way. Okay. This guideline was documented and authored by our head of applications, John Brighton, Superintendent Lori DeMarco, and myself. It's been reviewed by our heads of privacy, both associate directors, our CIO, Safe Schools, communications team, and 21C. This will be a living document as our capabilities with AI evolve over time, so will our guideline, and it'll stay current with what's available in the marketplace of AI. So to begin, what is Gen AI? I'm pretty sure everyone here has heard the term AI before, and maybe you have even explored AI products and services. But just to keep it as simple as possible, it's essentially the ability for your services and applications to generate new content based on trained data. One AI researcher referred it to as a calculator, but for words, whereas you can ask a question and rather than just getting the answer, you'll get a proper sentence detailing what the answer is for that. It can also be used to automate some administrative tasks and provide complex answers and solutions to problems that our students and educators face. This guideline was written for education use and for corporate use as well. We do have our corporate friends that work at our board that will be using AI products in their day-to-day activities. So the document does go into their use of AI as well. The general theme of the guideline will be to promote and embrace the use of AI in our education journey. It really is the future, and to borrow that example of the calculator, calculator did not replace accountants, right? Accountants, you still need them even though the calculator can do the math work, but an accountant who does not use a calculator is essentially redundant. I feel the same way about AI, so it is something that's going to be here in the future, and it's about time that we start promoting its use in our classroom in a responsible manner. Okay. The core tenet of the guideline is, again, to promote the responsible use of AI technology. Our AI use is going to be in alignment with our board's multi-year strategic plan. specifically with a focus on learning, equity, and well-being. It also needs to comply with our acceptable use of technology guideline and the Student Internet Agreement. These guidelines already govern the use of technology in the classroom by our students. The use cases described in the guideline in those policies are still valid for use cases that involve AI products. And as we are a school board, we should be careful that we use AI in a manner that promotes the educational journey of our students and to enhance the learning experience. We should also be wary of the limitations of Gen AI and to promote its responsible use of AI without worrying about the bias and the misinformation that can come from Gen AI. We should be wary of that. And also, it can be used to boost the efficiency of our corporate operations. Privacy and ethics is another topic that's covered in detail within our guideline. We do acknowledge that AI products must be cited in any output that a student submits, and to recognize the contribution of others, and not to use AI to deceive or misrepresent. Again, these topics are already covered in our acceptable use of technology and the Student Internet Agreement, but they are reiterated in the AI guideline as well. There is focus on privacy as well, especially with the use of free Gen AI tools like ChatGPT. There can be no guarantee of privacy of the input that a user were to enter. So, for example, if a user were to enter personally identifiable information like their names or their address, this information will become the property of the Gen AI product, especially the free ones. So we do talk very in detail about being careful of querying Gen AI responsibly, not to use the free AI ones, and only use the AI products that are approved by our AI Council. We also have language in the guidelines about inclusivity and diversity in our use of AI. Okay. As we are a Catholic school board, we are reminded and encouraged to consider the Ontario Catholic School graduate expectation, highlighted below, in our use of Gen AI. Just want to give a special thank you to Superintendent DeMarco and Superintendent Kakmo for their contribution on this section. Okay. And again, as the guideline encompasses use by our corporate staff and our education staff, we have language in here for our non-academic staff about complying to acceptable use of technology policies, being wary of the content, the quality of the content that Gen AI produces. I'm sure in your own exploration of Gen AI, you have seen content that's not quite acceptable that can come out of Gen AI, so to be wary of that, and also to promote the use of only approved Gen AI tools. For students, parents, and educators, again, the guideline reiterates the use of only approved Gen AI tools and in compliance with the acceptable use policy and the Student Internet Agreement. We reiterated not to use or not to share personally identifiable information when you're using Gen AI, to cite all use of Gen AI in their work, and to assess the accuracy of Gen AI using critical thinking skills. We also encourage students reach out to their teacher or administrator if they're ever in doubt using Gen AI. For parents and educators, just like all technology products, we encourage the careful monitoring of the use of Gen AI products by your child or student to make sure that they adhere to safety and ethical guidelines. We also have language in there encouraging your child or student to explore Gen AI, to be aware of what it is and what its capabilities are, and especially what its limitations are. The topic of critical thinking comes up with AI use. It is possible for school assignments and things of that nature to be completed almost entirely by Gen AI products. We encourage parents and educators to encourage their children and students to use critical thinking skills to make sure that they truly understand the work that they're doing and not just using Gen AI to complete all their work for them. and to highlight the drawbacks of Gen AI. It is possible, and I've seen it myself, I'm sure you have as well, Gen AI can produce subpar content. It could even produce completely false and and even hateful content can come out of Gen AI. It is important that we encourage our staff and students and children to be wary of that kind of outputs coming out of Gen AI. So our AI journey, it's starting with the guidelines that we're wrapping up right now. We also formed an AI council that will review AI products as they come available in the marketplace. Right now, there's a couple here that I listed that we're exploring right now. They're going to go through an AI product review, and we're going to make them available to our educators once they completed their vetting process. Okay. So thank you. Oh, I also included an appendix here giving links to the other policies that I cross-referenced in our guidelines. I also included the Ontario Principle for Ethical Use of AI. This is produced by the Ontario government. It is in a beta state, but it will probably be the guiding framework for all Ontario government agencies once it is published. All right. I'll also send out a form to elicit the feedback of this forum, and would like to hear the considerations. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharif. That was very informative. Can I get someone to motion to receive? Agatha, thank you. And Gus seconds. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Yes, anyone have questions for Sharif? Yes, Maureen, go ahead.
I'm going to try and use this. Okay. I respect that you were asked to do this report, and you're just the messenger, but I'm a little concerned because some of this, I mean, just some of this is extremely overblown, and I say this because I know a lot of people in tech who are, it's the hot new thing. If you want to get funding, if you're looking for VCs or investors, you just put AI on something. Like we just saw Grammarly listed. Grammarly's been around for years, and Google search, same thing. They just stick AI on it, and suddenly, hey, they've got money, except it doesn't actually, it's got nothing to do with AI. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're nodding your head. You understand.
I agree completely. AI has been used for quite a long time, right? The difference here is that there are AI products that are becoming available for educational use. Magic School is one of them. Whether it has merit or not, I'm not too sure. I don't think I can answer that question. But I wanted to make sure that we have this guideline in place that will allow us to explore these products in a responsible and safe manner, rather than just making it available to anyone who wants to just use it. We do make sure that these products, for example, their privacy policies in alignment with what our requirements are, safety and items like that. It's essentially a vetting process that allows the door to open to AI products should our educators choose to use them.
Okay, are we also asking any of these corporations, like we're large enough that we can have the influence, are we asking any of them, is there a way to turn off AI completely for certain groups of students or purposes? Like,
yeah, generally AI services are off. Like one example is Canva. It's an application that we have published to our educators. Its more advanced AI capabilities have been turned off, and they're going through extra vetting just to make sure that they're in compliance before we activate them. Again, the focus really is on the generative AI capabilities, where it can output text and images that are original. But for example, Google search uses AI in their search algorithm. YouTube uses the same thing. There are AI capabilities baked in within our applications that we use today. The focus is really on the generated content from AI.
yeah, my concern with a lot of this is frankly, there's an enormous amount of misinformation, garbage. I mean, for example, we talk about diversity and inclusivity. It literally doesn't exist still in image search or AI, because for so long the automatic default for every text, every photo published was white, wealthy, middle class, it's, if you, to this day, if you try and put a picture of a man cooking in a home kitchen, it automatically says it's a woman because it thinks.
Maureen, sorry, I'm going to just interrupt here. Do you have anything specific to the presentation?
Well, it's
like
not-
more, instead of detailed?
I'm just saying that this is not, we can't encourage something that cannot be done. You're encouraging inclusivity and diversity. It simply isn't capable of that.
This is why we have the language around biases included in there as well, and encouraging the students to use critical thinking skills. The output from Gen AI, it's not too dissimilar from the output from Google, right? You can ask it a question, and you'll see something that might not necessarily be accurate. This is why we included the language about critical thinking skills and to encourage the student to explore the product and understand its biases and limitations.
I got a few questions, actually. What do you mean by produces educational content tailored to individual learning styles? How does that work?
This is a more advanced feature. I haven't seen a product that adequately sells this, but essentially AI can read the progress of someone,
Progress of the
not
individual.
necessarily even a student, but in a more general sense. It can monitor your behavior and
Yeah.
understand. I mean, I think the best example is YouTube and Spotify does this behind the scenes. That's why they keep
Yeah.
seeing the content that they are interested in. So AI products can see the patterns of an individual and tailor the content accordingly. There are educational products that claim to do this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a good one yet, but essentially that kind of capability is on the horizon.
Okay. And my second question is with the critical, you mentioned it, critical thinking skills for individual students. Is there a way that if we're going to sort of introduce this to the kids, could we sort of not give them the answer or have an AI put a filter or a screen so that it doesn't necessarily?
Yeah, that's an
provide them-
interesting question. I listened to some educators talk about this question. The output is going to come. Like if you ask an AI product to write me an essay about Canada's foundation, you'll get a pretty good essay. This is something that educators need to figure out, this reality. I don't think we can close the door on that capability. I heard discussions about focusing on the process and the research and the development part of essay.
Exactly.
It's going to become more important.
Yeah.
But as far as turning it off, I'm not sure if that's possible
That's
anymore.
not possible at this point. Okay.
Well-
Because I know with Khan Academy, they don't actually give you the answer. They kind of guide you
Yeah.
towards the answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay, I'm just going to remind everyone, if you could just filter your questions through the chair. You can just say, Madam Chair, and then, yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to, we're now here in the boardroom, so we have to do things a little more formally. I know Rochelle had a question. Yes, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair. So in this page 6 here, 19 of 23, it says that you're dependent on parents to kind of hone your child to ensure that they ensure the safety and ethical guidelines. What I'm wondering is, if the child uses the chat, AIB, whatever, chat GPT, to do their essays and homework, is there a way that the teachers can filter, or you can give parents a kind of tool to make sure that children are not copying the answers that come from Gen AI, so we can check to see that our child is actually using their own creative mind to
Yeah.
create their output, right? So we as parents, we need to watch our children not just depending on calculators or technology to come up with these answers. So is there a way to check all that for parents to use?
Yeah, so the question about AI detection tools has come up a couple times, and my understanding is there hasn't been an AI detection tool that can definitely tell whether something was created by AI or not. There's some hesitancy of using those products, especially because of false positives. Perhaps one of these tools might flag something as AI-generated content when in fact it wasn't, and it was written by a student by their own hands. So detecting that using technology is very difficult. But to counter that statement that you said, again, it goes back to just communicating with your student or child. If you ask them to tell you about that essay about Canada, you can probably tell within 5 minutes if they wrote it or not, right? Just based on the way they talk about it, right? So things like that will become more important just to just have a conversation about the output. But yeah, I mean, they can absolutely copy and paste an output from AI and submit it as their own work. It's going to be hard to stop that kind of behavior, but that kind of behavior can be detected through conversation with the student or child.
Rochelle?
Okay, because my
Rochelle?
husband's a teacher, so
Rochelle,
he uses it.
sorry, just one more
Sorry.
question, okay?
Yeah, sorry. So my husband's a teacher, and he uses some kind of program to check to see if his students are copying from something. So if I find out what tool he uses, can I pass it on to you? Because he's from the public board.
Yeah, those tools exist. I'm just not confident on their accuracy. The worst outcome from using one of those tools is a false positive. If it flagged someone's work as generated by AI when in fact it wasn't, that risk is very high, right? And it can be very destructive. So we're very apprehensive about using those kind of tools in our board.
Okay. Through you, Madam Chair, if no one else has questions, I'll wait until everyone asks a question. At this time, I'll ask one more question.
Thank you. Ryan, go ahead.
Well, I just thought maybe I could provide a little bit of a lens from an educator point of view. I think that having a guideline in place is important because we want to be able to, as this evolves through curriculum and into teacher use, which we all know is probably there already, what we want to begin to shift is, and this is where critical thinking and literacy skills part comes in, is how are our teachers now shifting the way that they deliver and teach pedagogy in order to adjust to a world that has AI. We're actually looking at probably a much stronger leveled student because actually writing the essay may not be the actual critical thinking piece that we need to do. It's the ask the appropriate question to something that can do the menial task. So we're definitely on the cusp of where our students today need to learn through guidelines on how to use these appropriate things. Like when Google came in, everybody thought the world was over, and then the teachers at the time were like, oh, we have to find out how people are cheating, how they're cheating. But then what it actually created was, how do we search this vast world and create critical thinkers for our students, which I think is what we want in an AI world. It's here, people are going to be using it. We're going to be using AI to detect AI that's writing AI. I think what we really need to be, or the educators that I'd like to have in our system, are people who are creative enough to create critical thinkers in their students. And these guidelines are a beginning point for an entire system, but in terms of how we work with our teachers in the classrooms with this tool appropriate and available to us.
Thank you, Ryan. Gabriella, go ahead.
Through the chair. I understand, I appreciate everything that you've packaged and created here and presented for us. My question kind of touches on what some of the other speakers have pointed to, particularly the part about critical thinking and then the training tools. I'm wondering if alongside the policy creation for AI, if there is also training and tools that are being developed to train and educate educators on how to train our children, how to use the tools, and all of that. So that would be one of my questions, if you have any insight on that.
Unfortunately, I do not. I do recognize the requirement to train educators. The AI Council does have educators on board from the 21C team. I will be looking towards their assistance to drive that training part to educators. That hasn't been mapped out yet, to be completely honest with you, but the requirement is understood and agreed upon.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question to that is, at one point, and forgive me if I'm misquoting you, so correct me if I do, but you mentioned something about how some of these tools are currently being vetted and that there are certain generative AI components of it that are currently turned off. And from my very narrow experience, for example, with Canva, all of the tools are wide open to the students that I have seen are using it, which is in some ways great because, as an example, they had to create a creature, a 3 creatures in one, and I thought she was going to go be there and draw it. And in the meantime, she went on Gen AI, like 5 minutes, had all these different options of a leopard, a cheetah, and and a peacock. But I'm wondering if the turning it on and off is left to the board or is left to the individual teacher that is creating this and making it available for children. And I recognize the importance of introducing these tools to our children, because we're not only training them for the world that they live in, but the world that they will be being adults in and producing. But I'm concerned, or I have a concern about how it's being rolled out, if it's, again, governed by the board or left to the individual educator. So if you have any insight on that.
Well, definitely we're looking to govern them by the board. As far as Canva is concerned, there's nothing stopping anyone from opening an account on Canva. A teacher can just create their own account. We've seen that actually with Magic School and some other AI products. I mean, I think they're meaning well, but there's nothing that can stop us or stop a teacher from creating their own personal accounts to do as they wish on Canva, Magic School, on any other AI products. The hope is that once we have our AI products vetted and made available, they would just prefer to use the account that we provide to them. Matter of fact, I would even mandate that they only use the ones that are provided to them by our board. That way we have the oversight, audit logs, and other controls in place to make sure that responsible use of AI is ensured.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just jump in on that one. So our educators are very, very enthusiastic about things. So it's typically what happens with new programs and software that are coming out at any time, not just AI, is that many of our educators sign up for free pieces, and then we find out how we can adjust or what our system can handle around privacy after the fact. And this has been kind of something that's been happening for years with technology. So they're actually stepping out, trying new things, which is what we want. And then, we're kind of working backwards to kind of vet those pieces. So this is a good beginning part. There's a whole technology council. This just part is around AI, but there's vettings for all the free tools that are out there. There's an entire group that goes through it. And that, unfortunately, sometimes takes a lot longer than setting up a free account.
Yeah, just for clarity, I actually don't have any problem with the way that it's being. I think it's fantastic that the educators, in most part, are going beyond what they currently have access to and looking for creative new ways to meet students, not only where they're at, but also where they will be. So it wasn't actually raising a concern. It was just out of curiosity, the direction that we're going to ensure that there is some more guidelines around it, but it wasn't to flag a concern, just for clarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriela. Does anyone else have a question? Rochelle, go ahead.
So just to understand, I looked at all this AI technologies. I don't see anything for STEM, math, or coding. Is there any plans for that as well? Because we're switching over from textbooks to technology. So are there plans for that as well?
Certainly. The Magic School product that we had one of the reps come in and give us a demo of its capabilities. It has that capability. If you ask it a math question, it'll walk you through how to solve for that. Even if you ask it general questions about English and things like that, it'll give you a pretty good lesson. Matter of fact, I think the first slide I had a pretty good example on the bottom right of solving for that equation. I thought there was no answer to that equation, so that's why I asked it, but apparently there is one, and that's what Gen AI gave to me, right, so.
And for the accounts, so the board is paying for the teacher's account. So if someone goes and does their own account, then they have to pay their own subscription. But if they go through the TCDSB, then the board is paying for that subscription?
We would offer them accounts similar to the Microsoft accounts that we provide for them today and the Google accounts that we provide to them today. It'll be within the suite of products and services that ICT offers to all its educators.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, go ahead, Nora.
Madam Chair, there was mention of an AI council. I was wondering if there's any parents on that council.
There are none, at least not yet. It is a fairly technical discussion, but that's an interesting point. I'll maybe throw that idea out in the council and see what the thoughts are. The conversations, again, they're fairly technical, so I'm not sure what the value would be from someone from this forum joining that, but maybe Superintendent Peterson and I can have that conversation and see where the value is.
Thank you.
Is the council strictly dealing with the, like, how AI works, or is it the broad, like, are you looking at the safety, the privacy, you're looking at everything in that council?
It's a vetting discussion and strategy discussion on how to deploy things.
There may be some benefit to maybe having a parent rep if that's something that they're interested in doing.
Through the chair, just, I think maybe the term council might be throwing it off. It's really like a board committee group within the department, but I think the value of what we're discussing here is good for the IT department. And I know that Cherith's going to send a form out to elicit feedback from the group around this sort of stuff, which is what we want and the purpose of coming to CPIC and parent groups. So I think every comment that was brought forward here today is great feedback for this group.
Yes, Maureen?
Just to mention, Madam Chair, there are people who are parents in the TCDSB and through CPIC who have a lot of technical knowledge and are in IT, so
Well, the
I'm
council itself may be more operational, so it may be out of our scope, and that may be something on, so that would be a reason why.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be of a lot of value.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And I would like to see that happen if we could have, I don't know if I need to make a motion or if that's appropriate, but
I think
I would
we'll
like
let,
it if a parent
we'll let
was
Ryan
on
look
that.
into that and let us know if that's something.
I think that that what Sheriff will bring back to his department and I'll bring back to Education Council is the voice of parents. And I do recognize the IT background of many parents within our board because there's some very powerhouse IT people within our board that I've met over the time. So I think there is great value in that. I'm not sure where we're at with it yet, but I think that's a conversation at this point I'll take back to the tables that I sit at. It might be something that we look at motioning if we need to board in January. I just need to kind of unpack where it would be placed. It might even be something through this committee, maybe a subcommittee on, or something like that, that we can look at, because this is the forum, the main forum to advise the board on from parents, so it might be something that we develop from this particular body.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Maureen. If there's no more questions, yes?
Thanks,
Trustee
Madam
Crawford.
Chair. As a parent engagement group, I think it's really important for us to think of the impact on parents and how we can help the parents. And somewhat, perhaps similar, perhaps not, but there's been a lot of work from CPIC and parent councils in bringing news and information and presentations on social media. This may need a similar kind of rollout because I imagine that again, as you're talking about those who really are skilled in ICT, there's many who won't be, so there'll be a full gamut of parents to consider, well, how can CPIC be leading some helpful programs for them? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Crawford. And I think, is there anyone else? No? Okay, sure. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have 10 delegations, which there are none. Number 11 is members' statements. So I know this is something that's new that's come to agendas at the board. And Frank, would you like to speak to this?
Sure.
Thank you.
I just recently learned that if anyone has something in their ward that they like to bring to the attention or just compliment somebody, you're welcome to do it. The only thing is, you should do it when before we approve the agenda. So before we approve the agenda, you say, I have a member statement, and you'll be allowed 1 minute to speak on something, like if a teacher's been doing a great job or a parent's been doing a great job and you want to recognize them. But other than that, maybe somebody else would like to say more on it?
Gus, go ahead.
It's not a member statement, but I just have a note from Angel Foundation. Can I share it?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
So this is from the Angel Foundation sent to all of us. Just a quick note to once again thank CPIC for your sponsorship of our 2024 Snowball Gala. It was wonderful to see the CPIC group in attendance, and we hope everyone enjoyed the event as much as we did. We are pleased to advise that we were able to raise close to $22,000 to help support student nutrition programs and other urgent needs for children and youth. We could not have done this without you and your support and involvement. Please extend our appreciation to everyone at CPIC for their support, not just for this event, but for your ongoing partnership throughout the year. Wishing you all a wonderful Christmas holiday and looking forward to seeing you again in the new year. And that was from Emmy, Manager of Communications at AFL.
Thank you, Gus. It's very nice of AFL to recognize us. Thank you. So just to reiterate what Trustee D'Amico had said, the member statement, so if you have something that's gone on in your ward and you want to recognize that, whether it's a volunteer or an event that had happened at a school or something like that, something that was that deserves some recognition, then that's the time to let us know about it. And again, just before we put the agenda through, you can let us know. Okay, thank you. Number 12, unfinished business and matters rising out of minutes. We have none. 13, notices of motion. There are none. 14, communications received. That would have been a communication received from AFL, but we put that under member statements. Number 15, program consultation, committee of the whole. None. 16, the subcommittee and special committee reports. 16A, which is the Budget and Priority Subcommittee. That is on our addendum. I believe everyone received that. And I will have the chair of our subcommittee, Gabriella Berloni, speak to the meeting we had. Gabriella?
Yeah, thank you. So on Monday, December 2nd, we came together as a subcommittee to discuss where is it that we would like to put our focus on for the year. We had a very thorough conversation and everyone had the opportunity to share a little bit about what the vision was, obviously in alignment with our mission as a CPIC committee. So what we decided was that the 3 pillars of the focus would be on leadership training, on community engagement, and on fostering connections within the parent body. So we had multiple discussions, and what we created was a budget that speaks to a $66,000 budget allocated using 5 strategic initiatives. If you would like, you can follow along with the addendum that was handed out. So the first one would be on training on engagement tools and techniques, and the vision for that, well, the expected outcomes, first and foremost, would be that the delivering through workshops, we would be able to increase parent participation in school activities. One thing that was raised was showing up. Parents showing up at events seems to be an issue for many different people and boards, schools throughout the board, really. So there would be value in training our CSPC and our parent leaders in strategies and tools that would engage our parents. And that would allow really an enhanced connection and opportunity to contribute, not only for the school, but also that touches on some of the other initiatives or some of the other core pillars of what we would like to achieve on this year. And the way that we would do that would be through workshops and different resources that focus on these different tools. We allocated $10,000 to this, and it's top level, and we don't have right now exactly how this is going to work out, but by our next meeting, we'll have a bit more of a strategy set out for that. The second was ward and cluster events. That's what we labeled it. What we mean is that between the wards and the clusters, meaning the high school clusters, there are 18. We allotted $1,000 per ward and cluster. It completely allows for different neighboring groups, neighboring wards to come together and pool their resources for an event. And that event would be an in-person event. that would foster community, provide opportunities for CPICs and parents to connect, and really use that opportunity to strengthen the relationship and improve the understanding of what different local needs may be. One ward in the West End may have different needs and interests than a ward in the center or in the East End, so we leave that up to you. The third initiative would be webinar series. We've allotted $8,000 to that. Originally, it started with the idea of 4 interactive webinars, allotting $2,000 for each, but depending on who we choose to bring in as special guests or trainers, depending on what the cost for that might be, it would allow us to have 4, maybe 2. Our conversation today with our guest and our presenter gave us some additional ideas as to, perhaps topics that might be of value for parents. And we can discuss that further. Then we talked about a conference, which is something that we've been wanting to create, but it also this year, or next year rather, lines up with the Jubilee year. So we've allotted a $25,000 budget for that in a celebratory Jubilee celebration for parents. It would be really a capstone event for elevating, educating, and celebrating parent involvement, parent engagement at the level of the school board and together. And there's many different ways that we can do so. And we'll leave it at that. And then finally, CPIC swag and visibility. We've allotted $5,000 for that. And the idea is to keep the organization visible to our parents, to our communities, and that we can do so through the delivery of items. So with that, I believe that would be it. That would be it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriella. Can I get someone motion to receive? Andrea, and a seconder, Jacinda? Okay, does anybody have any questions about the proposed budget and priorities plan? Or anything they'd like to add, or any ideas? Rochelle, go ahead.
I was just wondering, if other parents in the CPIC committee want to come up with ideas with speakers and stuff, is that an option for them? Can they bring forth some ideas?
Are you talking about the individual ward?
Yeah, or even if they want to
The webinars?
if they had any speakers for the conference, or how we would use technology to help us.
Go ahead, Gabriella.
Yes, Madam, through the chair. I'm so sorry. I'm getting used to that. So yes, absolutely. It's not just to those that were at the meeting. It's open to anyone. We are a community. Everyone has their own input and ideas, so all ideas and thoughts are welcome. In fact, I would suggest that everyone involve themselves in the planning of the conference and the tools that we create. So you're all welcome to any of our calls and conversations. So that being thing number one, and thing number two, that you said 2 things. What was the second?
Technology, we needed something where we could record and then present it to all the wards.
Yes, that is.
Sometimes
yes.
some parents can't make it to a certain meeting, and having it recorded and having the technology to present it again or something like that.
As we've done in the past, we do have the recordings of a lot of the different workshops that are delivered for that particular purpose. So yeah, we will be looking to do that as well. And then furthermore, one thing to consider is when you're individually doing your, for example, if you have something that you'd like to deliver in your particular ward, one of the thoughts that we had was, instead of leaving it up to each individual CPIC rep to design the whole event, and this would be in partnership with Events and Conferences Chair or Subcommittee, would be to actually have a framework for it so that everyone could kind of plug and play, we don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. So that might be something that might be of service, but I wanted to address that also because it sounded like you were pointing to that. But yes, you're welcome to have your own speaker and vet or give ideas. So did that answer your question, Rochelle? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriella. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, so then what we're going to do then with the report is then we're going to give that off, certain pieces off to our events Events Committee and our Parent Resources and Communications Committee. So then we'll come back in, we will speak to those and come back in January with some more information on how we're going to proceed with these initiatives. Okay? All right. Oh, that's right. We have to vote for the allocations. Okay. So then I'm going to go through. All right. So we're going to go through everyone. Jennifer DiFrancesco, the chair, I'm in favor. Gabriella Berloni.
I am in favor.
Agatha Edwards. Franco Kotza. Andrea Maya. In favor. Rochelle de Belshore.
In favor.
Jacinda Libbard.
In favor?
Nora Baggioni da Costa. Francesca Ancona. Michael Lamana.
In favor.
Carolina Krasniak. Ivan Marinovich. Gus Gikas.
In favor.
Maureen Colford. Okay, thank you, and that passes, thank you. "17 is matters referred to the committee by the Board of Trustees and other committees of the board. We have none. 18 is reports from the TCDSB board officials, and that would be Ryan Peterson.
Through the chair, thank you very much. Just a little procedural piece for us now that we're in the boardroom. Since we're being streamed on YouTube and eventually and through the board site, it's important for the public that may or may not be watching to when we're speaking and voting to push the red button so that they're able to kind of understand the vote. So even though we can hear everyone in the boardroom here, we want to ensure that the public watching at home can also know who's recording what votes. Okay, so I'm having difficulty with it too because I typically don't get to speak a lot at board. But if we can just kind of keep that in our process as we move through, there's a lot of changes on the agenda that we're all working through. And I want to thank the chair for the great job that she's doing tonight, as well as all of us who are new to the table, but just a couple of these pieces around transparency for the public watching at home, specifically because we're talking about funds that are being allocated in that discussion. Okay, so thanks everybody. So it's been a crazy month. A pleasure to be here with you all tonight. Our next two meetings will be online and virtual. We have had some challenges with our boardroom and our Catholic Education Center as we're going through significant construction in our garage. So that's why there's been our meetings were set to go virtually anyways, but that worked out very well for the work that's being done in the CEC. I think the biggest news that has been happening around Catholic education and Catholicism in general is the appointment of our new cardinal. We're thrilled to celebrate the elevation of His Eminence Cardinal Francis Leo, the Archbishop of Toronto, to the College of Cardinals, which was this weekend. This is a significant event for Toronto and specifically for Catholic education, and we have a very strong relationship with the now Cardinal and Toronto Catholic District School Board. So it's a great thing for the City of Toronto as well as Toronto Catholic. Our director was able to be part of the celebration in the Vatican this past week, showing proof of the strong relationship that the Director of Education has with the Archdiocese. So we're very happy for the Cardinal and for Catholic education in the city. I'd like to also announce that on November 18th, we have a new chair of the board, Trustee Marcus D. Domenico from Ward 2, as well as a new vice chair, Kevin Morrison, from the trustee from Ward 9. I'd also like to thank past chair Nancy Crawford for her amazing work that she's done over the past 2 years as chair. She is a force to be reckoned with in the boardroom and in her schools, and I'm very happy that I have all of her schools, and I'm very happy to have her full focus back, as well as having such an experienced trustee sit on CPIC. So we're happy to have Nancy, Trustee Crawford, sorry, join us here as a new member of the trustee representatives on CPIC. Part of CPIC and its voice is that it has 2 trustees that sit at the table and are hearing everything that parents are saying and bring that lens back to the board. I'd also like to welcome back Trustee D'Amico to the table. We're very happy to have him return. And I think he's also got a new role at board as the chair of the Student Achievement Committee, which is a great responsibility for him. So we've got 2 very passionate and 2 very strong trustees at the table. With your work on CPIC, use them, develop relationships with them. They're great people to work with. So welcome back, Trustee D'Amico, and welcome to CPIC. I don't know if it's back. Maybe it was at one point. Yeah, back, Nancy. I always call you Trustee Crawford. At last Student Achievement meeting on Thursday, I had a pleasure to present the metrics report for Catholic school parent councils. Those of you who have been chairs know that there's this huge push at the end of the year to give all the reporting to board. That survey comes to me, we develop a report, and the report is delivered to the Board of Trustees. I'm happy to announce that there are a lot of amazing events going on with school parent councils, more so the structures of schools, the diversity of school councils, the basics of bylaws are all on the up, and they have been over the last couple of years, showing good governance at a local level. We are looking at, over the last, priority for my department, which dotted line kind of comes to CPIC, is the management spending of PIC and program funds. So your experience around the table helping your wards come up with some great events is where I would like you to leverage some of that experience. Some school councils have accumulated PIC and program funds over multiple years, so we're looking at doing our best to do great things with those funds continuously. One of the highlight portions is in 2022, 2023, we spent $82,000 of PIC and program funds. 2023, 2024 was over 200,000. So amazing things that our parents are doing in relation to with our academic principals at the local level, and we hope to continue that trend and spend more in this school year. We've been having a lot of training sessions once per month. Joe, my colleague here, Mr. Ferrante, ran, and same with Veronica Deck, our business services people. In November, we were focusing on treasurer training. Chair training was in September at the end there. And PIC and program funds utilization. I will be presenting, Joe doesn't know this, but he'll be coming with me in January to present to all principal areas face-to-face around how we can support principals and councils in utilizing PIC and program funds. So it is definitely a goal of the board, senior team, as well as my department, to be engaging parents with ministry funds. By the way, you're coming in January, Joe. Okay. This month's Virtue of the Month is charity, and as we move into, or are in the Christmas season and Advent, I just, on behalf of the senior team, wish everyone around the table, and I know for most of us it's only our second meeting and more to come, a very Merry Christmas, everyone. And I think that's any questions? Yeah? Is that a lot?
Thank you, Ryan. Motion to receive? Gus and Gabriella. Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Ryan? Okay, none. Thank you. Okay, so next we have reports from trustee or trustee alternate. So Trustee Crawford, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would love to. First, thank you so much, Superintendent Peterson. It is wonderful to be welcomed, and I hope, I'd like to thank the chair. I believe it was completely your idea to have a festive meal before the meeting in December, and I hope you felt a bit of an opportunity to get to know each other and to break bread together and to grow in getting things done together. That's what we're all about, working together to help the board and to help parents. It's a pleasure to be back, and it was a very long time, actually, that I was on CPIC, several years ago. But it is good to be back and see more of how the parents see things and what the parents identify to improve. You know, that's important. And so I too wish you the best of Advent and Christmas, and may you all receive from our wonderful incarnate God, child, exactly what you need. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Crawford, and we're happy to have you back. Trustee D'Amico, would you like to say anything?
Sure, I think I said something last board meeting, but I am glad to be back as well. We've come a long way since I've been on CPIC many moons ago, probably with you, back in like 2011 or 2010.
Yeah.
I see a lot of changes here. John Delgrand, I think, was a big part of that. He was very experienced. So I'm just sitting here listening, and I see things going smoothly. So let's keep it up.
Thank you.
Have a nice year.
Thank you, Trustee D'Amico. So I need someone to receive. Andrea, and seconder, Yvonne. Thank you. Yvonne and, Andrea and Yvonne. Okay, and number 20 is the parent member and community member reports. We have none. 21, update from the board on prior CPIC resolutions recommended. We have none. 22 is the pending list, and we have none there. And before we go to adjournment, our last meeting, we didn't mention it, but I would like to say thank you to John Delgrand, who was our chair, our previous chair. Actually, he was chaired a few times, and who did a fantastic job. And he really was very passionate about CPIC, and he was passionate about parents, and he was just an amazing person overall. So if he's watching tonight, I don't know. He probably is. And I want to just say thank you to John, and I wish him well on his journey. Yes. All right, so with that, I need someone to move adjournment. Andrea, and seconder, Nora, thank you. All right, and just everyone, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and enjoy being with your families, and I wish you all the best.